Okay, as it pertains to BravoTV's Real Housewives of Atlanta, we've got to find a bridge to get Kenya Moore back on the show. That's just it, period, point blank. Yes, Kenya Moore, hair care, needs to come back if we'd like to get entertained. And you know, reality TV is supposed to be an escape, and it's never, to me, I've always liked more the humorous stuff, you know, the funny stuff, the outrageous and ridiculous, gone with the wind fabulous stuff. So where reality TVs went across the board is just a mess. Even to think about it, like your best dating show, or biggest dating show rather, is like a Love Island. I get that people like it, but it's not for me. I don't like, you know, all the little, like, the games and the this and the that, and let's switch this person with this person, and then, well, of course you're gonna have emotions. It's just so fabricated, right? It's so like arced in a certain way. Your other big reality show is you know, the secret lives of, you know, the Salt Lake City, the Utah, you know, scenario, and it's like, I don't know. That's just not fun for me to watch. Maybe I'm over 40. Yes, I am. And as I'm older, I like just the fun, you know. Real Housewives of New York was so good back in the day, as was Potomac from day one, as was Jersey, Melissa Gorga, yes, Melissa Gorga, and Dolores Catania, the stars of that show, Larsa, Gertie, Marisol, Alexia in Miami, you know, and so on and so forth. But we got to focus in on what is going to do, you know, situationally, to bring back Real Housewives of Atlanta. And it really does seem like at this point, Kenya Moore is really the only way for that to happen. I don't think the other lady, Nene, would make the cut, you know. You know, I'd like to watch a show with humor, and she didn't really bring a lot of humor. Not funny, not witty, not like Kenya. Kenya is funny. Now, Candy I want back on the show, but let me tell you what I think about Candy. I'm also okay with Candy not being on the show, because I feel like Candy should demand every check that she, you know, deserves. And if she doesn't get it, she's got to, you know, say, like, I'm out of here and I'll do what I got to do. And the reason I say that is because I watched like the first 3 seasons of The Chi, and then I kind of forgot the show was still airing all this time. But I kind of always would hear about it, because you would see even in the show Real Housewives of Atlanta that Candy was going to go film The Chi. And as the new season of The Chi was coming, I wanted to like catch up, so I did like a 2-season binge into the new season. So really, in honesty, I think I missed still like season 3.5 and 4, but caught up on like 5, 6, you know, into 7. But I say all that to say, this is sort of the power of like leaving the show and elevating yourself, because with Candy, I feel like we always, and this is just my opinion, but I feel like you sort of sell her short, because you're like, oh, we get it, she's on Real Housewives of Atlanta and she's doing this project and that project and this project and that project and this project and that project. But when you see that it's The Chi, such a great show, Lena Waithe, but it is different. So I'm watching The Chi and I'm like, and it's so good, and I'm like, Candy's got like a role in this show. And sometimes I think we see the cast members sort of have throwaway projects, meaning they're on the show, but it's more of maybe it's like a caricature of like a reality TV person, and it's sort of them but not them, and it's like not really acting at all. And I just think Candy's doing so good. So anyways, a big Candy fan here, which means we have to break it down. And this is just us chatting, so like, I don't know, like you could think differently, that's okay too. But I kind of feel, unfortunately, we've seen better days with Phaedra. With Phaedra, here's a couple things, and I just mentioned Candy, so of course I didn't like the way Phaedra Candy, you know, back in the day, and so even that gives you a little side eye of like, okay, Phaedra's back on the show, but she did do good on Traitors, Married to Medicine, like she has, you know, gotten back to a place. But really breaking it down, like, Phaedra and her original face in those early seasons was so good. Wasn't she fresh from Athens? And like, she was, you know, she was the Georgia Peach, and it worked. And now, like, there is a little bit of nostalgia for the show, and I definitely rather see Phaedra on the show than Nene, for sure. Nene never entertained me on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. It was always Kenya Moore, yes. But my point is, I don't even want to say it because I feel like if I'm saying it, is the bias that I like Candy so much so I don't want to love Phaedra, or are we in agreement that Phaedra isn't really, like, it's not the same. It's not like, and I'm not like one of these people who's like, oh, I like a reality TV cast member when they are brand new and it's kind of more refreshing and relatable, and when then they have their glow up, and in Phaedra's case, you know, a whole new face and all these things. I'm okay with all that, but I just don't know if she's as funny as she once was. And I know that she really tries to, and that's the thing, but we all try. I'm trying to do a good job for you here. Anyways, it's like respectfully saying, is Phaedra dropping the ball or not as witty as she once was? Or is that just because this is a specific situation, that the Kenya Brit situation, Phaedra came in the middle and you're still adjusting? It could be that, but there's just something about it. Even like when she was on Watch What Happens Live with Lala Vasquez Anthony, it was like Phaedra, and it's okay to do this, but is she believing her own hype, let's say? Anyway, spending too much time on Phaedra. Loving Angela Oakley, bring her back. Kelly's fun, and that darn Shamia. Boy, I love Shamia is the one. But see, I've always liked cast members that like are sort of like that elevated. Like, I know a lot of people who watch shows, reality shows, the mess is always really good, but I always like the business savvy, the I'm gonna like really work out my career, hence I love Candy. You know, you take that opportunity and you make it something big. Even thinking about Real Housewives of New York, it is what it is, but like Bethany Frankel, you taking this little thing and you making it bigger than it is. I like that. You know, I remember watching like episodes, well, that's a whole nother show, so who cares? But I'm just saying, Shamia may not be everyone enjoying her, but like, even you're gonna laugh. I like Sanya, what was it? Sanya Ross Richardson, whatever the case. Sanya and the wonderful family dynamic, and like she was an athlete, and so was her husband, and they like, you know, world-class athletes maintaining a wonderful family. They shared lots of stories about, you know, parenting and those certain trials within, and even her working with her family and them living so close or in the house and growing and evolving, but like business, it was wonderful. And yes, I don't think that Real Housewives of Atlanta was the show for her, but like I'm one of the different type of viewers when it comes to reality TV, that I don't need it to be compelling on the basis of mess only. Like, I love a little mess, we all do, I guess, but I like somebody who, when you watch them on the screen, you like get sort of inspired and vibrant in your own, like, oh, I'm gonna go out and do all the things that are on my wish list and my to-do list and my dreams, and I'm gonna make them happen. You know, you get like that real motivated like energy, and I see that with Shamia. I see it with Shamia. Part of it is because it probably was an interesting thing to be so amazing, but always under the, oh, that's Shamia, Portia's friend. I can see it. I can see it. So there's a little bit of that, like she really wants to break out. But, you know, some really dynamic stuff with friendships. I don't think it was unreal at all. I think it was authentic, you know, Shamia, Portia, and how they're, you know, I do think that sometimes, if I were to judge Portia in this, I would say sometimes you prefer your friend to be sort of under, you know, your success. And the moment, it works both ways. Sometimes, like, when somebody starts to succeed, you want to put so easily that they're changing, you know, and they're, who do they think they are? But sometimes it's you that is the one that's changing, or you the one that wants to like keep somebody down. I'm not saying that's the case with Portia, but I think we're seeing a really beautiful and ravishing story with Shamia, and I mean, she's the look she's serving at the very least, you know. And you know, what do we always say? God, it sounds like I'm coming at Karen from Potomac. Wearing like expensive and name brands and all that does not give you style. That's a knock to Karen. But to Shamia, I don't care if it's from Zara, if it's from Forever 21, or, you know, Gucci down. Like, it doesn't matter. Shamia has, I mean, you know, everyone talks about loving like 90s, you know, I was in high school in the late 90s. I'm in my 40s, you know, trying to make sure that I, you know, moisturize and look okay for my age, but Shamia is given something that just feels very familial. And by the way, she might be around my age. Maybe she's a little younger, but the point is, whether she's 35 or she's 45, Shamia has a thing that, like, labels don't make Shamia Shamia. it's, I mean, well, I do think that, yeah, the home tour at the very beginning of the season did certainly get people like, whoa. But I'm not somebody who really judges you whether you got it good like that or you don't. But I will say, in terms of style, like, I'm into Shamia. Very much so. Very, very, like, I want to see more cast members like this, but also shows that like have that as well. You know, a lot of times we watch these shows and everyone has to be, I mean, it's like Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, let's say. You know, it's a whole cast of, and there's nothing wrong at all. You know, marriages don't work and single women on shows, but like, it would be nice to see. That's why I said I like Sanya, and I know Sanya wasn't for everybody, but I like to see positivity on a reality show. I think it should be sort of casted in that way. Anyways, I kind of overtalked here and just asked all these questions and got so excited about it. But I guess the main question is Kenya Moore the only way that this is going to be saved? Because it does seem a little bit like the Real Housewives of Atlanta is somewhat on a decline. What can be done? How is it going to be fixed? It's quite interesting. In the comments, you can like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and of course you could support patreon.com/randomly Ronnie Jr. And yeah, with about 20 years of working in like radio and long nights and days and mornings and busy schedules, I'm still here trying to give you some fun. You know, just in the most crazy situations, you know, sitting in the car, taking a beat, taking a break, taking a chill pill for a moment and saying, where is Kenya Moore, and will she ever come back to the show to save the show? She needs to. Portia just doesn't got it alone. You know, it's not a diss to her. If Portia left the show and Kenya was like, you know, the lead, and something like that happened with Portia, it would also be hard for Kenya. So anyways, I say all that to say, can we just find a way? Can we find a way? Or was what she did unimaginable? And you know, Britt very much, I mean, it put her in a really horrible situation and all these things. So I don't know where we all, but I do think if there could be some apologies, some growth, some understanding, and even, you want to talk about reality TV, this is, you know, when friendships and bonds are broken, both even with like friends, but also work and employers and all that, finding a way back is always maybe a beautiful thing to see as well. So that's kind of where I'm getting at, is like, we want that team twirl back on the show, and maybe a step by step, it will actually be compelling reality TV, not necessarily like just things that are fun on Twitter and TikTok, and like, and I think that's what the show kind of goes to a little bit these days. But I would like to see a little bit more of a meaty show, and some elegance, some like Georgia Peach, like let's do it, you know, like bring Candy back, bring Kenya back, you know, Phaedra could stay, I guess, you know, but that's complicated with Candy, you know, and I also feel like Cynthia, keep her in there. Let's build a bridge between Cynthia and Kenya that seems to have been broken a little bit. Like there's a show here. There is a show with friendships reconnecting under some odd and tough circumstances. This is what I feel. And then we could be gone with the wind, fabulous yet again. Anyways, those are just my thoughts. I don't know if you agree at all, but it was just like, you know, I had to like say a little thing or two. All right, I gotta go. Bye.